Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and Eitan is back with us today as we break down Seeing Beneath the Surface. This is the last week of the month of Leo, of Av on the calendar, and there's no question that the last few weeks, the last couple months even, have given most of us a run for our money, let's call it. Very few people I know didn't feel a struggle or a squeeze or a reckoning in the last few weeks. And this week's energy is really giving us the support and the opportunity to see beneath the way situations present themselves to us. So we want to take the opportunity to squeeze every last drop of light out of this month, and specifically to take the opportunity to see not with the eyes of our head, but the eyes of our soul. And we'll be talking about wisdom and tools that can help you do exactly that. Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most powerful and practical tools to navigate the coming 7 days. We do that through the teachings and tools of Kabbalah, so that every episode ends up offering wisdom and tools that are really timeless. And it is a bit ironic that we have the support now that many of those challenges are in the rearview mirror to shift our perspective about them. But the real goal with what we're sharing today is that no matter what you go through, when you go through it, you have the perspective to see the light inside what's happening, regardless of the package and the way it presents itself. And it always reminds me, I remember our teacher, Rav Berg, saying so many times, if you know it's going to be okay in the end, and most people, when they're going through a tough time, a struggle, they say, I'm sure it'll be fine in the end. I'm sure it's going to be all right. But right now it's difficult. The Rav used to ask the question, why can't you live in that reality then? If you know it's going to be okay in the end, live in that reality. That's what we define as certainty is, I know that the end result is good, so I want to live in that reality now and connect to the goodness that will be revealed then in the present moment. So that's really, I think, our starting point for today is how do we transcend what can appear as something objectively negative or bad or difficult or challenging and extract the goodness, the elevation, the benefit that the universe is trying to give us through that situation without waiting for the end or 20 years later when we can acknowledge what a blessing it was or we wouldn't change it. How can we feel that we wouldn't change a moment in the midst of the struggle itself?
I think everything starts with what do we believe reality is? Because Kabbalistically, there are 2 dimensions. The tree of knowledge, good and bad, and the tree of life. And these 2 dimensions is not one is in the physical world and one is up there in heaven. No, it's right here. What is the tree of knowledge, good and bad? Is the dimension that most of us, and most of the time, we believe that's the real reality. Certain things are good, certain things are bad. Like the Torah of this portion tells us, certain blessings and certain curses. And as long as I believe that's reality, and that's the job of the opponent and the ego within us, is constantly to make us see life that way, and as a result believe that life is that way. There's good moments and bad moments. There are blessings, there are curses. And then maybe if there's a challenge, something that it's a curse, hopefully I'll use some spiritual tools to overcome it, to make it better. But ask yourself, is that what you really believe? During the course of a day, all of us experiencing different feelings, different events that right away translated in our initial perception of reality. Good moments bad moments. Blessings, curses. That's called the tree of knowledge, good and bad. That is the external seeing and perceiving reality. The other dimension, called the tree of life, which dimension means the way I see life. The tree of life means if I'm able to attach myself to that dimension, which is the internal dimension, everything is a blessing. I think step number one is to open ourselves to realize that literally everything is a blessing. Step number two, okay, so how do I fight to see the dimension of blessings throughout the day? Because there's many levels of perception of reality. The way I think about life, the way I believe about life, the way I talk about life. But Kabbalistically, the way I see life is the initial perception, which affect my thoughts, affect my words, and affect my energy about life and situation. So let's go to the first step. How do I see? And we need to be so alert about it. How do you define blessing? I'll ask you a question. That's the first question, Elisheva. How do you define? Let's both of us define blessing. Start with you. I want to see the blessing. I want to work on my perception to enter to that dimension called tree of life, that everything is a blessing. But before I see it, let's define a blessing. What does it mean, blessing? I feel great. I feel pleasure. What is really a blessing? What is a definition that can excite me to search for the blessing? What is the definition of a blessing?
Well, for me, at least from what I've learned in my time studying Kabbalah, is that one essential quality of a blessing is that it's eternal, or that it's long-lasting, right? You said, is it about feeling good right now? I feel good right now. Is that a blessing? Only if I'm going to feel good, I don't know about forever, but at least for the long term, that goodness isn't instantaneous. It's not a momentary blessing. A blessing is something that lasts. So part of I do ask myself, even when things are happening and they might be concerning initially, is it going to matter a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And most of the time, the things that get us upset are not, right? And that's part of I think the beginning of perception is, how much does this matter? How dramatic is what's going on? What's the impact of it? And when I realize how temporary it is, right? My ego was a little hurt. I felt a little judged. Somebody said something not nice. I know I'm going to get over it within the 5 minutes or the hour or the day or whatever it is. Then I can understand this is not, the temporary nature of it shows me the significance of it. If it's lasting, there is an opportunity to extract that blessing from it.
Okay, that's great. So you're saying one of the ways to define blessing is lasting good. So for me, first, the Creator is the energy of blessing. And that's always present. So what does it mean, blessing? A force that elevates me to experience good and to become better and to help others to become better. Blessing is energy that elevates me. Everything elevates my relationship, elevates my finance, elevates my joy, elevates my inner confidence, elevates my relationship, family relationship. So blessing is energy that elevates in a continuous way my life and everybody around me. Look at the blessing of You plant a seed for orange tree. The light of the Creator sends its blessing through the soil, through the sun, through the water. And from that one seed, you have few hundreds oranges that so many people enjoying it. And then it multiplies every year, hundreds of oranges again and again and again. And each one of them have seeds that multiplies to more blessing. There's energy of elevation and continuity. I know that in every given moment, when I'm saying I'm searching from the blessing, I want to see the blessing, I want to open my eyes beyond the external, is please, Creator, allow me to see the elevation, the growth of this moment. I want to focus on that. So let's say, like yesterday, after the great flow of energy, I got some disturbing news. Disturbing news about negativity of certain individual, which disappointing and disturbing. So you say, I want to see it as a blessing. How do I see it as a blessing? So I paused for a second and I said, wow, number one, it has to start with me. I know that these disturbing news are giving me the strength to grow, to excel, to protect certain blessings that were so joyful about happening in my life. By me penetrate to a deeper dimension, how do you protect any blessings? By connecting to the one who sends the blessings. That's the only protection. When you just hold on to the actual good news, I'm feeling confident, I am liked, I feel energy of love. How do you protect blessing? Blessing means, as you said, Elisheva, continuous force of elevation, continuous. By go to the seed of that. So now I'm experiencing pain because of the news, whatever way I'm perceiving the situation. But I'm saying get deeper and deeper and deeper. Who sent me that news? Is the text that I got? Or is it the Creator itself that has only one desire? To elevate me and to elevate others. You know what? I decide to be blind to the external. I decide to lock into that consciousness in the midst of this experience. I'm not denying my feelings, but I'm deciding to see it as a force that elevates me and as a result help me to elevate others. Our external perception of reality always will be, it's good, it's bad, it's pleasant, it's not. Because that's what body perception is. That's what ego perception is. Our ego is narrowed down to definition of as long as things happen in a way I want them to happen, is defined as good. And as long as things don't happen in a way I want them, is defined as bad. That's the illusionary perception of the ego. If I break the ego, there's only one agenda of whatever energy comes from. Any news that I'm getting, start from an energy. That energy is the energy of the Creator. What's really the intention of that energy? Elevate me and elevate others. I want to search for that. I crave to search for that. Kabbalistically, desire is a very powerful consciousness. Like Michael Berg said, is my desire focused on, I want good things to happen according to my limited perception, or I want to find the light every moment, which is the blessing, the force that elevates me. I want to look at every situation in life as a force that elevates me. That's desire. that soul desire. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you tell yourself, yes, will be a lot of good, bad, according to the illusion or perception of my ego. But I want something else. I want to find the light in everything. Even in amazing things that happen. Don't stay there. I want to leverage it as a force that elevates me and elevate others. That's the way I'm seeing that perception. Preparing myself today, please, Creator, allow me to find, to perceive that force that wants to elevate me, this intelligence. Anything that's happening in our life, as what drives it is internal intelligence that's saying, I want you to go up. In joy, in happiness, in growth. Yes, but temporary, I feel something. It's okay. I want to focus on the essence of what's really happening. In the gift of this week, we have, like you said, the eyes of our soul. We have a gift to access the eyes of our soul. The eyes that attach not to the brain or to the ego or to the old traumas, the eyes of our soul.
I think you said something so powerful, and you said it so quickly, I'm not sure you realized how powerful it was. And I think this is the place, it's exactly the place where people, very spiritual people with great consciousness get stuck, is that this moment, right? My difficult feelings, we don't want to reject those feelings, despite how I feel or my perception that something is wrong or bad or shouldn't be happening. I want to connect with the source of what's happening. That we talk all the time about how the only constant is change, but we forget about it when something challenging happens. And to me, it's always been very helpful to, when we are experiencing something difficult, and yes, and your higher self knows it's for your best, it's taking you to a better place, you will rise above, it's all the right things. Your head knows all the right things, but in your heart, it's painful, it's difficult, it's challenging. Remembering that this is how it is for now, and at any moment it can change, is actually one of the ways that you can step out of the difficult feeling without denying or repressing it. Meaning, it may be disappointing what this person did, or it may be hurtful, or you can look at somebody who's on a destructive path and objectively say that's not good. But to also know at the same time it can change at any moment. And this is how it is for now reminds us, and we go back to this concept time and again in these episodes and in all of our classes, that time and space, physicality in general, are part of the system of the universe to challenge us to grow. Now, I usually use the example of, imagine I call you up and I tell you, you won $1 million, right? You get super excited. You start to think about how you're going to use it. I call you back 5 minutes later and I tell you, I'm sorry, it's not yours. You didn't win. And you're upset. But what actually happened? You never had the money, and the money wasn't even taken away from you. It was just your perception that you had something, and now you've lost it. So in life in general, the way that the universe works with the smoke and the mirrors and the holograms is that we're often tested in that same way. And the whole idea of elevating, and I feel like the last few weeks has very much been about this for a lot of people. There was a test of, you got something, you lost something, someone said something about you, someone's threatening you, this looks like it's not going to go well. Your response is actually what determines the duration of the challenge. So that if you maybe you get upset for a few minutes and then you move into, I know it's for my best, I know I can handle it, I know the light will give me the strength to move through it in the best way possible, suddenly the illusion starts to disappear, and it wasn't, the doctor calls back and says, oh, actually, we read the results wrong, you're fine, see you in a year. Or the negative rumor that you thought was going on around, it was a misunderstanding and it wasn't about you in the first place. That you start to, when you get what the universe intends to give you, that elevation, when your response to the test this time is a higher response than it was the last time this happened, or the last time you were triggered like that, or the last time your button was pushed, then you no longer need the illusion of that obstacle to exist. Now, obviously, there's certain things in life that it's harder to adopt that mentality, harder to adopt that mindset with, because it may objectively be a long-term obstacle or a situation that's not going to disappear instantaneously. Although we've seen many times in specifically medical situations where people thought, God forbid, it was a very tragic result, and in the end it was a mistake or a miscommunication, or the doctors changed their mind even. So but part of it is getting into that habit, exercising that muscle of, okay, this feels bad, but I know the force behind it. I know it can change at any moment. I know it's for my highest good. You automatically allow what the universe intends to give you with it to settle in instead of fighting it. And the Kabbalists teach that you can't control what happens outside of you, but you can control how it affects you. And a lot of people don't even realize that. And I think it's something that we all need to look at today, this week, perhaps more than any other time of the year, is what are my beliefs around what happens to me, how things happen to me? Do I really feel that I am in charge of my movie, that I'm what we call the co-creator of my reality? What does that mean to me? Where in my life can I be more of a cause, more of a creator, more of an initiator, take more initiative, versus where are the parts in my life that I'm leaving someone else responsible for my well-being, for my mood, for my opinion, to really begin to step into, again, it's a perspective shift. It doesn't necessarily mean anything externally or physical has to change. Where is my perception that I'm not an active participant in that part of my life, and start to move into more of an active participant? Because it's very easy to give over our opinions and our, to kind of adopt that sheep, or what do they call it, herd mentality. Oh, I believe this, or you believe that. That's a good thing. I'm going to join you with it, rather than thinking, wait, does this work for me? Is it true for me? And maybe it's something I believed 20 years ago. Do I still believe it? Do I still want to be doing this? Do I still want to hang out with this group of people even? And to start to use the energy of this week to shift the perception of even how we show up in our lives. It's a really powerful time to do that.
I think you said something very powerful, Elisheva, and you said, how do I become the participant, the co-creator of my reality? And that's part of what blessing is about. So let's take not challenging moments, good moments during the day. A little win, a little good email, a little good news, a little suddenly you feel creative and inspired and excited. You have amazing conversation. Oh, it's a blessing. Is it a blessing? The definition of a blessing is any situation that helps you to grow, to elevate, and to elevate others. So if you're not pausing after a good meal, a good conversation, a good moment of joy, a good moment of a breakthrough in business, and say, pause. Wow. First, thank you, the Creator, for this moment. How do I leverage that to grow? Maybe to grow my appreciation, to grow my humility. How do I leverage that energy that appeared as sweet and beautiful to help others even more? I love how Karen Berg always used to say, if you look at the tree filled with fruits, and there's more fruits, what happened to the branches? They're bending down. More humility. Very often when good things happen to us, we say, oh, Now I can relax. Hopefully it will continue this way now. Instead of saying, wow, I'm so blessed, let's leverage it for growth and helping others. So the definition of a blessing is seeing life, the things that appearing good, the things that appearing bad, as the force of the Creator help me to elevate and to elevate others. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not saying, please help me to see the blessing. No, please, Creator, open my... I know every moment is to elevate me. Forget about the results. Forget about the good things, sweet things that will happen. I know that every moment, the good moment and the difficult moment externally, both of them are channeled by the Creator to help me to elevate, to grow spiritually, to grow my giving, to grow my humility, to grow my appreciation, to learn lessons about myself, and to elevate others. When that's my consciousness, I will experience less and less suffering in my life. And then will be alignment between the internal and the external. That's the goal. More I'm able to attach myself to the internal reality that everything, the good and the bad, there's no difference. Both of them has one consciousness behind it, elevations and growth. More I'm able to attach myself to this internal reality, the external will match it. We're not meant to go through painful challenges for the rest of our life. I goal eventually that the external will mirror the internal. When I believe enough in the internal, when I'm investing, shift perception, get deeper, beneath the surface, searching for the elevation of this moment. Somebody gave me a compliment. Wow, I feel amazing about myself. I'm stuck, I feel amazing. Where's the elevation here? Where's the growth here? I want to leverage everything for growth, for expansion.
I think that's important to end with, simply because when you say something bad happened, right? Or someone says to you, how was your day? And you said, I had a tough day, or I had a rough day. You're basically disconnecting from the internal aspect of it, right? You're missing, you're passing up the opportunity to extract that, the inherent blessing that is there. So as a very simple practice this week, watch yourself. See how often you go to mislabeling experiences as bad, uncomfortable, rough, difficult. They may feel initially that way, but be careful about writing things off, labeling them as such, because then you relegate them to, they didn't elevate you. They didn't support you in the way they were intended to, not for any reason except you didn't allow them to do the work, to do the service that they were meant to do. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us on all those platforms to receive even more content to support you in living what we speak about every episode. You can also go to our website, weeklyenergyboost.com, to search our archives, learn about what we think is important for our listeners to know, as well as to click the donate button and support Weekly Energy Boost. But most importantly, share this episode, help others connect to the blessings that are all around them, to shift their perspective, to see beyond the surface. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.